All right, welcome in Ricky's Mailbag. You could hear us on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. We are now unfiltered with Bill Colarulo, myself, and Silvana Kelleher. Here we go. We take your questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe down here. I think it's down here, so go ahead and do that. And send in your questions. We try to answer them to the best of our ability. I'm here with Dylan McKinnon, our media man. Here we go, Dill.
This one is from Dale. Marsh is hitting right now. How much do you buy into this hot streak?
All right, here we go. Now, Brandon Marsh, as we all know, has been one of those guys who sits on peaks and valleys. He's kind of fits directly into a Phillies lineup because a lot of the guys in the lineup kind of do the same thing. But I'm having a hard time buying in because, number one, I don't believe he's an everyday center fielder. I don't believe he's going to face many left-handers. So what does that really tell you? He's a platoon outfielder, so he's more or less a bench player that hits against right-handed pitching. And when you have one of those, I think the main thing you want to do is solidify a position. Does that really get you to that point with Brandon Marsh? Brandon Marsh has some power, but doesn't really show it. He does hustle, I'll give him that much. He can play outfield. He's not a bad fielder whatsoever. But if you can't play a guy every single day, I'm not going to buy in, and I'm not going to put everything I have into that stock. Sorry, but I look at Brandon Marsh as a platoon player. I look at him as a bench player, and not a bad piece off the bench. I do not look at him as a star on this Phillies ball club.
This is one's kind of the question of the week, but James wants to know, should Castellanos have been benched?
Okay, let's start with this. Rob Thompson is the boss. They call the manager the field boss. You cannot disrespect your boss, okay? If you are going to disrespect your boss, the first thing you need to do is step one. You go into his office and tell him, I'd like to speak with you. You go in there, you hash it out with him. By the way, I've seen these things before. They're not pretty in there. They're loud. They yell at each other. They get it all out in the open. Then they talk about it. They come out of there, and they're usually in much better moods and understanding. Now, what Nick Castellanos did, and this is the one thing that's a big issue, obviously he offended Rob Thompson in what he said. Nick did not think so in his comments, but I look at it this way. You cannot disrespect somebody in power. As we all know, we all have jobs. Are you going to disrespect your boss and tell your boss off unless you're planning on quitting or leaving that company? You're probably not going to go in there and get personal with them and say something that might get you fired. This is the same type of situation. You can't fire Nick Castellanos. You're not going to tell him, bye-bye, get out of here type thing. What you are going to do is prove a point, especially if that point involves the rest of the 25 guys on that team. And I think, to me, this became an issue in the sense that it was probably done in front of other people. It was probably done loud. Nick was not happy. He made that perfectly clear, which is fine. But you cannot do something like that in front of other people and expect to get away with it. I know people have said, why don't they just fine him? Come on, really? The guy makes $20 million a year. Are you really going to fine this guy? And what is that going to hurt him? I mean, let's really dig deep into that. What is going to hurt him and show that Rob Thompson is the boss? You take him out of the game. I know he had a 236-game streak, but does that really matter in this type of situation? That would say if he let him go, then it's all a free-for-all on that ball club. I don't think you could afford to do that. I think Rob had to let everybody know, you know what, I am the manager. I am running this team, so therefore I am the boss, both on the field and in the clubhouse. Outside of there, go say whatever you want to your family, your friends, do whatever you want. But do not disrespect the boss. That's the point I would make, and I do believe he probably should have been sat down for that game.
Did you agree with the decision to pull him as a defensive replacement?
He hadn't done it. I cannot recall a time when he has done it. So I do not necessarily think that was the greatest move in the world. I'm a different believer. I think Nick Castellanos gets to the balls he should get to, as proven in the game 3 against the Marlins when he went into right center field to catch a game-winning possible double or triple or game-tying triple. So I look at it this way. Does Nick get to the balls he should get to? Yes. Does he make the routine plays? Yes. Is his arm fair that he could get the ball to the bases where he needs to go? Yes. That Rob Thompson tried making the excuse that we're not facing a lot of right-handed pitchers here coming up, so Rojas isn't going to get a lot of playing time. I just wanted to get him in the game. I don't know. That's something I'm not buying either. So it's kind of odd because I'm on Nick's side in the point that he probably shouldn't have been pulled, but I'm not on his side for what he did after the fact.
Chris wants to know, were you ever benched? And if so, how did you handle it?
I was not necessarily ever benched. As a player, have I been mad at managers or mad at teammates? Yeah, I think everybody does at some given point. The other thing is, we had 25 players on our roster back then. The one thing you have to remember is that these guys are with each other 24/7. 24/7. There's a lot of wives and husbands out there that if they were with each other 24/7, they're either going to say something, they're going to get mad at each other, they're going to fight, they're going to do this and that. It's no different, but usually the fights that happen within the clubhouse are done in 10 minutes. You're over it, you apologize, you move on. That's how it should be. I will say this much. I was mad. My one big outburst that I kind of regret but don't regret is that I was traded by the Phillies to the St. Louis Cardinals. And the year before, I was injured in June. They brought me back to pitch when I probably shouldn't have pitched for the rest of the year. So I was a little upset about that, and it started the issues with my shoulder, which even kind of stemmed it even more. And when I got traded, my first opportunity was against the Phillies. I come in to close the game. I got a save, and I had some choice words for Terry Francona. Granted, it wasn't probably even Terry Francona's fault. And I realized that after the fact, but I will tell you this much. I got back to my condo that day in St. Louis after the game, and I'll never forget how many messages that I had. It was ridiculous because what had happened is that on ESPN, it got played. And when I'm talking got played, off the top of the show, that was the first thing on showing me do that. So it was a big to-do. I ended up the next day going into the Phillies clubhouse, talking to Terry Francona and getting it out of the way. So I guess in a sense, it was the same thing, but I wasn't on that team anymore. So I wasn't going to get suspended. I wasn't going to get in trouble by that team. But you do regret certain things you say and do, and that would probably be one of them.
Okay, Adam wants to know, what does Stott need to do to get right at the plate? This question came before the home run. And do you believe he can get right at the plate?
I think he's got to use all fields. One thing about Bryson Stott, if you look at what he's doing and what the pitchers are doing to him right now, they're kind of pitching him away with some movement. So what does that tell you as a hitter? That you have to stay back a little bit more, trust your hands, and hit the ball where it's pitched. I think Bryson Stott gets in moments where he tries pulling the ball a lot. And if the pitch is away, you're either going to roll it over or you're going to kind of hit a weak fly ball to left or center field. And when you think about his outs, the one thing I think about right now is just lazy fly balls to left field, and they're getting to be a little bit of a constant. So I think if he thought about up the middle, think about up the middle and gap to gap, I think he becomes a really good hitter again. When you try to pull and you're not necessarily a home run hitter, Kyle Schwarber, you could look at Kyle Schwarber. At times when he knows his pull swing is not going well, the one thing he'll do is try to hit line drives to left field. And once you start doing that, that makes you stay back. It makes your hands stay back. You're not getting off balance, and you're just driving the baseball and just trying to barrel the baseball. I think Bryson Stott tries to do a little bit too much at times, and it kind of backfires on him.
Okay, final question from Sean. Any interest in Mike Trout?
By the way, this is probably the greatest question ever because you know what? You ask any team in baseball if there's interest in Mike Trout, the first answer is going to be yes, of course. He's one of the greatest players to play the game. He hits for power. He can play center field very well. The one thing that's a little bit of a deterrent, actually, there's two things. His injuries. He seems like he's injured every single year. And number two, his contract. He's got one of the biggest contracts in baseball, and for the Phillies to take that on, I think the fans wouldn't care, but I think John Middleton would look in his back pocket and say, I see money flying out of it. So you know what else would happen? Your ticket prices. Your ticket prices would skyrocket at that point. So the fan base would be happy and sad at the same time. And it's just one of those things. Everybody would love to have Mike Trout. What would you have to give up for him? Number one, would that clean out your minor league system? The other thing is it would be a bidding war, which becomes a huge, huge problem to me and the Phillies. So there you have it. It's Ricky's Mailbag this week. Like I said, like or subscribe down here. Don't be afraid to throw in your questions. We'll try to answer them to the best of our abilities. You can catch me, Bill Colarulo, Savannah Kelleher on Unfiltered, 2 to 6, Monday through Friday on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Thanks for watching Unfiltered on YouTube. You could like and subscribe down here. You could also see our other shows over here. Go ahead and watch them all. We love when you watch. The one thing, hey, you could also catch us on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. See you there.